Hey men of Reddit, what are some romantic gestures that girls do that completely melt your heart? Story 1. Close and emotionally charged hugs. When she buries herself in my chest or neck, makes me feel all strong and protective and absolutely melts me. This was one of the greatest feelings ever. I would come home from work, one of those days where you tell yourself, I might start drinking again. I get home and walk in the door, she walks up to me, looks at me, I don't say a word, she can see it in my face, and she hugs me. And as she hugs me, she lets her weight drop into me so she kind of just hangs onto me. Her head on my chest, no words were even spoken between us for about 5 minutes, but that feeling of trusting embrace, I forgot about my day. It's things like these that make me think that human beings are deep down simple creatures, and not necessarily in a bad way. We crave intimacy, food, friendship, fulfilling work, and games. Evolution made us who we are. Sadly, I don't have this anymore. Story 2. I'm blind in my left eye and she's blind in her right. I always stand on the left and she's on the right so that we can easily see each other. I sleep on the left with her on the right. We're in perfect balance. I'm so glad I found her. I was bullied mercilessly for my eye all through my childhood. She wasn't, maybe because her eye isn't as lazy. Also, I'm lefty and she's righty. So we get to hold our non-dominant hands together while walking and use our dominant hands to pick stuff up, point, etc. Very convenient. My father was and is right-handed, and when I did something wrong as a child, he slapped me in the face. He did it with his right hand against the left side of my head so I couldn't see his hand coming. I remember wishing as a kid that if I could have been left-eyed, I would have had that fraction of a second to prepare myself for what was coming, or maybe flinch my head away but just a fraction. Of course, he was only using his dominant hand, as people do for any activity including disciplining children, but as a child, it just felt so unfair. My partner has a functioning left eye, so she could see people's right hands coming in these situations. Now I have someone who understands me and I understand her. She's a glittering silver lining in a very dark cloud. I didn't mention it, but I'm also deaf in my left ear, so I really want to be on the other person's left, in every situation. She doesn't have any hearing problems, but still likes having me on her visible side. Matching vision and dominant hands. It's like they were made for each other. Story 3. On days I work before my girlfriend, she will get up earlier than usual to make me breakfast and lunch for the day. It makes a huge difference because I'm not at all a morning person. I know that may not be romantic, but it definitely gives me warm fuzzies. That's the only kind of romance that actually matters. True lifelong love isn't grand gestures. It's thousands of tiny boring moments like those. Story 4. My wife packs my lunch every day. When I open it up, I get warm and fuzzies because I know she made it for me. I can also tell how she's feeling by what's packed. No yogurt usually means that she's stressed, so if I don't have yogurt, I try to pick up more of the shared tasks like laundry or mowing. It could mean that we're just out of yogurt too, but I try to not go grocery shopping. I'll go in for yogurt and come out with a 2-pound bag of Skittles instead. She gets the big tub of yogurt and puts it in a smaller Tupperware with frozen fruit and honey for my lunch. When she's stressed, having finals, when she was in school, or when something big is going on at work, or something with her family is going on, I usually end up with no yogurt. A sandwich of just meat and cheese, half of which is off the bread, and some fruit and a lot of granola bars. The less stressed she is, the less granola bars and more everything else. I pick up on it and do what I can, minus get up early and pack my own lunch. I hate mornings. But she loves them. That's our yin and yang. For example, she's asleep on the couch right now, but I'm about to start cleaning in the basement as soon as I finish this. She's a morning person, and I'm a night owl. I'm amazed they picked up on this habit. The packed lunch is like his girlfriend's mood radar. Story 5. Being complimented, just out of nowhere. Hearing something that they appreciate about me lets me know that 1, they're thinking about me, and 2, that they're putting value in my actions and felt inclined to let me know about it. It just makes my day to hear. Story 6. This isn't a commonly occurring thing, but it definitely melted my heart. She was standing on a broken wall and she was enjoying the view. She looked absolutely mesmerizing and I wanted to take a picture of her. All of a sudden, she started singing, "I'm on top of the world, eh?" She did that out of pure joy and happiness, and in that moment, I fell in love with her all over again.
Hey there. If you haven't heard already, a few friends and I recently launched Rufus Rugs, your go-to destination for premium custom hand-tufted rugs. Looking to add a touch of your favorite anime like Naruto to your space? We've got you covered. Or perhaps you're a die-hard Pokemon guy and want bus toys showcased for everyone to admire. No matter your style, we can bring your vision to life. Click the first link in the description to explore more.
Story 7. I used to have a girlfriend who was generally very affectionate. When we were just hanging out, either with friends in a public place or just sitting on the couch, she'd rub my back, run her fingers through my hair, lean on me, lean on my back, snuggle me, hold my hand or rest her hand on me. It was very subtle and not very PDA to the onlooker, but you bet that I noticed every time. She was also not clingy, if that makes sense. Near me, she'd be lovely, but never had to be right next to me 24/7, and it was fine with me going out with my boys or being incredibly social when we would go out. She never would trip on a girl giving me hugs or kisses on the cheek, because everyone knew that we were an item and we were pretty laid back. I miss her and wish she didn't have to go back to Germany all those years ago. I would still be with her and care for her like a treasure. If he liked her so much, I'm not sure why he didn't try reaching out at least once. Story 8. Honestly, everything. I punched above my weight when I met and married her. The woman is a powerhouse. She takes care of our animals like only a mother could. She works her butt off when I come home from work. She's either cooking dinner or cleaning up. She's normally the cleaner after I cook, but as of lately, she's discovered cooking and gets so excited trying new things. I've been working 12 hours a day and hitting the gym for hours afterwards. She's super supportive of my goals in the gym and is researching meal plans and usually has my protein ready right when I walk in the door. She's my best friend first and foremost, and just the way she looks at me so lovingly with a twinkle in her eye when I'm telling her about something I'm passionate about gives me butterflies. We've been together for 6 years, married for 1.5, and I can't wait to scoop her into my arms and hold her and hear about her day and tell her about mine. Nothing I can do or say can ever really make her understand how much she saved my life and made me the better man I am today. I'm going to go wake her up now and tell her for the 100th time today how much I appreciate and respect and love her. Story 9. A girl that I was crushing on and I sort of chaperoned a couple of friends of ours who were just starting to date on a trip to a local outdoor flea market. As we were walking along the dirt trails between the different booths, I started kicking a smooth rock about half the size of your palm across the ground. This went on for half an hour or so until it got to the point that I refused to let the rock out of my sight. Eventually, my crush picked up the rock and, to my astonishment, pocketed it. She said that she'd give it back to me later, that she didn't want me to annoy the other patrons at the market. By the end of the day, I had completely forgotten about the stone. A month or so had passed and we attended a music festival that I performed in. It was crowned King of Music for the year by the old Norwegian woman who had held the festival for her famous deceased uncle. We just pulled into her driveway when she said, "Oh, hey, I meant to give you this earlier today." She reached into her pocket and gave me the stone that I had been kicking around at the flea market. Looking more closely, I noticed that she had taken the time to write on it in Japanese. She was learning it at the time as a hobby. I asked her what the different phrases meant, and she only said that she had written my nickname on it. She wouldn't tell me what else it said, only that she would tell me some other day. It was that moment that I absolutely knew that I wanted her to be more than just a good friend. I held the stone for a while, turning it in my hand and asked, "Would you ever consider dating someone like me?" "I'm not sure, I think so," was all she said in reply, but that was all I needed. 3 days later, I overcame a fear of rejection and grabbed her hand while we were walking on campus, and we walked for several miles through the different paths around and through campus, holding hands the entire way. That was in October. We were engaged to be married the following January, and married May of the next year. It might seem fast, but we're about to celebrate our 5th anniversary this May. It seems to be working out well enough. In the years that followed the returning of my rock, she has since confessed that most of the messages on the rock are things like, "I think I have feelings for you." Even though I was crushing on her prior to the stone, it was that act that pushed me into taking the plunge. To any normal person, it just appears to be a rock with scribbles on it. But it's my rock. It's our rock. The moment he asked if she'd ever considered dating someone like him, she already knew. That was a little too obvious, but it worked out. Story 10. At least a few things. I live in an area where the weather has commitment issues during the cold seasons. It'll be melt your off hot in the morning, then frigid and gusty in the afternoon, then nice and agreeably sunny until the sunset. Then it goes back to hot, then sometimes rain, then cold again until morning. Sometimes my girlfriend isn't quite prepared for the cold, and if I'm not acutely aware of the temperature drop, I'm working on getting into shape but I've still got some insulation clinging to me, I sometimes won't notice her huddling up until she lets out a small, "chilly," in the most adorable voice, and I'm immediately compelled to drape my arm around her and hold her close until we get somewhere warmer. Other times, if we're out and about, I might get a pace ahead of her when walking into or out of a building. She'll then proceed to very lightly grab and pull in the back of my shirt or jacket to let me know she wants me to slow down for her. And it's one of the cutest things I've experienced in a relationship. Also, her overwhelmingly positive reaction anytime she likes something I cook for her just warms my heart to no end. Still can't get the Jeff and Annie dynamic thing down though. When she loops her arm through mine and I jokingly say, "Milady," expecting her to respond with an amused, "My lord." I know the last part comes off as cringy to most people, but as a fan of Community, I always thought it was goofy and cute when they did that. Story 11. She bought me chocolates for Valentine's Day. Now that might sound like much, but I was vehement that she really didn't need to get me anything. I've got everything I need, her in particular, but I digress. Anyway, we had made plans for V-Day, but I had to work a split shift in short notice. Anyway, I ended up driving 30 minutes to meet her for a quick bite at a burrito chain, only to drive 30 minutes back the way I came. She slides this box of custom chocolates, like really fancy ones, at me, while I'm chit-chatting with her between hurried bites. It was super nice. I was tired, grouchy, and dirty, and spending 10 minutes with her paired with a thoughtful gift was a really nice thing. At first, I thought there were something someone at work gave her. She gets small gifts from the family she works with sometimes. But then I remember thinking, these are for you, stupid. It just really showed she cared. Guys don't really get gifts that often and appreciate it so much when they actually do. If you'd like to have someone give you a gift this Valentine's Day, you better hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Story 12. An ex of mine once did something helpful. I can't remember what, but I think she bought me something I'd needed for a while but kept forgetting to buy, like a wiper blade or a keychain or something. That was sweet and all, but that's not what gets me. That's just being considerate. My reaction was genuine and unfiltered. I think I said, "No way, you rock," like I was talking to some pal. Her expression when I said that was so touched. She almost started welling up. I love that me liking her as a person meant so much to her. It made me really want to be the best boyfriend I could be, you know? Made me feel so valued. This was at least 15 years ago, but I still think of that expression. Story 13. I've been with my wife for 27 years, married for 22 of those years. She's been on dialysis for a year and a half now, waiting for a donor match. When she sleeps, she has to be touching me. A hand on my hip, back, or shoulder. As soon as she breaks contact, I wake up because after so many years and now with her illness, I know something isn't right. She either gets sick to her stomach or has to go to the bathroom. I wake up to comfort her or to turn on the light so she can make it around the bed and down the hall. I stay up until she comes back to bed. She climbs in bed and I face her. She smiles, her eyes sparkle, and I know she loves me and appreciates me. I kiss her forehead and caress her hair and she knows I love and appreciate her. Without a word, we laugh for a second and go back to sleep. Well, she does mostly, and I lay there watching her breathe, knowing that one day, hopefully far off, I'll be laying in an empty bed. Enjoying her moments is the only advice I can give anyone. I know I wasn't asked, but there it is, our secret to 27 years together. In case you haven't guessed, I'm not a match for her to donate a kidney, and it's heartbreaking. Good luck to you couples and you singles. Everyone deserves to feel the way I feel and to be loved. I hope his wife found a match, because her husband definitely found his. Story 14. I recently met an amazing girl online, and after months of chatting, we decided to meet. It was touching enough that she flew across most of Europe to meet me here in the UK, and the few days spent together were full of affectionate, heart-melting moments. But I think the most memorable happened at the end of her visit. I was driving her back to the airport at around 3 a.m. in the morning. We were making light conversation and trying not to dwell on the present sadness of her returning home. It was night, few cars on the motorway, the radio wasn't even on, and my eyes were focused on the long road ahead. The journey was weirdly intimate in its own right, but what melted me inside out happened halfway through the drive. When she reached out and ran her fingers over the back of my neck, stroking the skin and short hairs there in such a delicate, loving way, it's a wonder I didn't veer off the M11 in a numbered stupor. I remember laughing and asking what she was doing and became aware out of the corner of my eye that she was staring at me in a very affectionate way. She replied with something along the lines of, "I can't help myself. You look so cute." Never experienced anything like that before. She's coming back for a longer stay in about a week. Might be the happiest weeks of my life. Story 15. I work in a job currently with manly men, whatever the heck that really is. Since I have taken on this job to pay for a trip to Alaska this summer, my wife has woken up an hour earlier than she has to and packs my lunch for me. She always includes a one-line love note in a bag of chips. Every day the real men insult me for these notes. Every day I let them know that they wish they had it this good. She doesn't have to get up. She doesn't have to pack my lunch. She doesn't have to write me a love note, but she wants to. She told me because I do all the cooking at home and it's her only way to prepare me a meal that won't end in the smoke alarms going off. And it's this little reminder every lunch of how epic she is and how lucky I am. Days fly with that on my mind, that little note. The rare time she forgets or she knows I'll be eating out for lunch, she sends me a photo of a note at 12:15. Just writing this makes me realize even more how lucky I am. Story 16. When a girl is slow to wake up and tries to drag me back into the covers. Much better though is if she doesn't keep fighting me if I need to go do something, remembering which sleeping positions kills my arms or legs so she'll actively correct herself when she realizes. Maybe she'll even apologize while genuinely worried that she might have been hurting my arm. Random hugs or kisses. Or letting me shower in her hugs and kisses when I can't contain myself. Sometimes I just want to give the girl I love a couple of little kisses, then a couple more. I also like when I'm lying on a bed face down and she lays on me. Maybe she wraps her arms under my chest or puts hers over mine, and her legs are hugging the sides of mine. It's like a gravity-assisted back hug, and it's a lot easier on the chest than if I'm face up. It's a strange thing to ask for, so I've only had it happen a couple of times, but it felt really reassuring and I felt really loved. I kind of have a thing for casual hickeys too. Feels pretty good to have a little love mark. I can put a little pressure on it and think about her all day. It's also, in all honesty, a little ego boost when the guys see it and get all smiles. As far as something I would like to happen, I think it'd be amazing if a lover woke me up randomly one time to say they really wanted to hug or kiss me, or something like right then. Not as a regular thing, but every so often I would probably be extremely touched with a "Aww." Gravity-assisted back hug is a brand new phrase for me, but it does sound pretty nice. Story 17. When they look at me like they're 100% interested in me, or when they treat me with respect and kindness, Even if you don't like me or see me as a boyfriend, I would really love it if you treat me as a human being and not an eyesore because I'm not your type. Also when they buy me something out of the kindness in their hearts. Not saying I want a girl buying me stuff, but you would really score trust points with me if you did. Usually I'm uncomfortable with people buying me things, but my girlfriend always gets me really thoughtful things and puts a lot of effort into them. I love everything she's given me, regardless of what it costs or even really what it is. Story 18. Initiative. I grew up being taught by my Deep South mom to be very giving and attentive to a man. However, being a Gen Xer, society told me to wait for the guy to make the first move, that he must do all the romantic work to win me, and to never ever, in pain of becoming an old hag virginal spinster, never initiate intimacies of any kind. Should I do so, I would be considered needy, or even worse, a total harlot. This was back when Fiona's Apple criminal video had people clutching their pearls. All that aside, once engaged to a man who would become my amazing husband, I learned in a hurry that men do not get a great deal of kudos outside of sports, activities, or work. I will never forget the first time I rather absent-mindedly massaged my husband's right hand as he was driving. At the time, he was a journeyman roofer and worked very hard, long hours. He was driving a 3-on-a-tree Chevy back to my college to drop me off after a weekend together. And partway through the trip, I started to rub his right hand. Somewhere along the way, mid-hand massage, I complimented him on his work ethic and leadership qualities. I was deeply involved in working on his hand and didn't notice for a bit that he was very quiet. I looked up into his face and he was just staring out at the road in front of us with water rising in his eyes. The look on his face shocked me and asked if I had hurt him. He said, "No." I paused. He was quiet for about a mile. Then, I never knew my hand could feel this good, or that someone even noticed me outside my boss. His words kind of broke my heart. Who the heck is cutting onions in here? Damn. Looks like I'll have to end the video here. If you've made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sure you'd be interested in Girls of Reddit. What are the unwritten rules of the girl code that us guys don't know of? You'd learn a thing or two from Story 3. See you there.